Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You are watching Polly's Paper Studio, and this is day 4 of our Week of Flowers series. So we have so far done alterations on purchase flowers. We made filler flowers and Halloween flowers. Today we are going to focus on flatter flowers. And if you're saying to yourself, oh no, Ginny, stay in your lane, you only do poofy flowers, that is mostly true. However, I do sometimes see the need for things with a little bit less bulk. So even though these aren't technically flat, they do not add the depth and dimension as regular ones do. And because of that, you can mail them more easily. And if you are working in a scrapbook, for say, you don't want to add that much volume to your pages so that your book won't close. So I made a few cards. This one has fussy cut flowers over a die cut wreath and some scrap items from my stash to create this beautiful country chic Christmas card. And then I have this, this is a very cute card with some not totally flat, but flatter shaped flowers. They're like a daisy sort of style, and I've added a little bit of accent to them to finish them off. So this will fit in a standard size envelope, and that makes them a little bit more user-friendly and easier to have on hand so that you are ready for situations when they come up and you just need to grab a card. So if you stick with me, we will make these together. So the first card we're going to make today is going to have some fussy cut flowers from floral paper, and I know that we all buy it and it is so beautiful, and I have a hard time using it because I just want to have it all the time and I don't want to give it up. But this is a really good way to create like your own ephemera. You can isolate the separate flowers and then clip them out and then use them just like you would a packaged ephemera. So on this package, or on this sheet, it has a few smaller ones, and then what I'm really looking at using are the larger rosebuds with the leaves around the outside. So I'm just gonna pick this one because it has the most complete image. And then I'm gonna cut it out. You wanna take your time and do, you know, a more precise job, but just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm showing you what I'm going to take with me and then what could be left behind, mainly because, oh, there's the cat saying hello. Once you get to the point where the image is very, very small, it does create a challenge to get it all glued down easily. And then the white core is going to show a little bit unless you want to ink it. But once you get into those very picky little pieces, it just is really hard to make it look like a purchased ephemera piece. So go all around the outside. If it was like a white background, I would probably leave a small border. Just because I think that looks nice to have that separation. All right, now you see I've gotten into where the bud is here. And when you get cutting around that, it's going to be really tricky to cut easily and glue down well. So I am going to continue that cut line until I get over here. And really, I'm going to even use part of this leaf, which doesn't necessarily go, but I'm just going to incorporate it around so that I get a little bit more fuller leaf to be left behind. So this is another project that's busy work, and you don't really have to think too hard, but you could get a lot of these cut out pretty quickly. So this is what I have left, and because I didn't cut out all the little very fine details, it's going to be much easier to adhere. I'm going to add some spacers. Now when I say spacers, you guys don't be all like, oh, these are flat flowers, you can't have spacers. These are scrapbook adhesive thin foam squares. They are really not very deep. You see, that's probably half the depth maybe even less. It's just some separation between the patterns. So I have adhered mine to the flowers that I cut out previously. I'm just going to build this card. Now, this is pretty much my standard card base. I have the patterns and a solid card stack to separate them, and this is like 6x6. So what I want to do is add a die cut doily, and really this is to separate the focus images from that noise of the background pattern. I used like double-sided adhesive just to stick that down. And then I've got this card that I found in my Christmas stash. It's just one of the cut aparts. I think it's maybe from Simple Stories. It's really very simple and sweet, and it kind of lends itself, in my opinion, to this plaid. So I'm kind of going for country chic. It's just a little bit more dressed up than it would be, like, you know, not fussy or anything, but just simple and nice. So I'm just going to center that and add it. For the top part, now I'm going to add this is a die cut leafy wreath. Check from your favorite distributors that do die cuts, or even on Amazon. And so really what I wanted to do was make this like a full wreath, and this has a very good size to fill in that area. I don't need to go like splooging it all over. I'm just gonna, you know, put it on the leaves and make sure that those will be tacked down well, because that will hold the rest of it. You could ink this if you wanted. I chose just to go with this. It's the back of a pattern. It's not even real cardstock, but it had the right tone of green, and I really thought it should work with the leaves. And then I tried it in alternate orientations, but I really wanted the heart to show, because that's kind of what the sentiment was about. So I'm just gonna tap that into place there and give it a tiny bit of pressure so that there's a little contact for those leaves. And then I'm gonna bring in the dies that, or the flowers that I already cut. I took a little bit more time to make sure that these looked a little bit more precise. And now you can see what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add them to this arrangement, and that will fill it in. So now what you've got is a card that has a little bit of dimension, but it is not poofy, and it's going to be much easier to mail. And like I said, once you get that sheet of paper, you saw how many flowers were on it. So I was able to get, you know, these and then quite a few more. This paper pad has been in my stash for an amazing amount of time. But I just get attached to the florals, and I want to break free from them because there's new florals to have. You don't have to have all of the ones you've had and not get new ones. So this is a really sweet and simple card. And this is really a scrappier stash, but you could make a ton of these just if you had a printable or something for that center. So this is the first card, and that's just going to be, you know, it's Christmas, but you could use this for any holiday or any sentiment. You could make it a birthday card or something like that. So for the next flower, I have a shaped flower that is flatter. Is it flat? No. Is it going to fit in a standard size envelope? Yes. And that is what you want so that you're not adding so much dimension and poof with your floral display. So I am using a 10 petal flower. They're very, I want to say daisy-like. I don't know that is 100% true because I'm not really good with flower names. I just make them however I like. But I ran the same paper through and then I used the alternate side to create the smaller flowers. I just flipped it over. So for whatever side that you want showing, shape the opposite side. And these are fairly small petals. So I'm just picking the smaller end of this tool. And you don't want to work these so much because now that is smaller, it's going to be a little bit more fragile. But also, the nice thing is it's going to go a lot faster. You can see that I'm just working around there and making them cup a little bit. And then I'm going to bend them back up at the center. And then do both. I guess if you got creative, you could flip one and not the other in the same flower. But for this card, I wanted to add that plaid in the background, and I was worried that it might look too busy. So I'm just gonna work until these are finished. See how quickly that went? And then flip those up too and add just a bit of adhesive to the center. And then sort of alternate them so that you get the best coverage of petals. Felt like this one was a little hard to match up. There. And then press that down until it sets up. I'm going to continue working on this one because this is, it's going to set up okay. Add a large flat back pearl to the center. And this is just, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on that to make sure it sticks. And then add it there. I think an extra little bit of detail is nice if you put a little bit of this stickles around the outside just to fill in that gap a little bit. If you wanted to, you could even sprinkle on more of that Martha Stewart glitter and get a chunkier look, but I like this just the way it is because the card is a little bit simpler and you don't need as much embellishing for that. So I've got one of that size and then two of the smaller ones that have the paper flipped. I've added these leaves here, and I think that's a great match for the plaid. I used the just the leaf dye, and then I used this peeled paint distress ink to give a little detail to the edge. It does add some interest and make it look much nicer than just cardstock. So once you get those finished up like that, give it like a shape so that it'll stick up a little. I used two on each side and then a little bit of twine just to help fill in that arrangement. A little doily here is beautiful with that color, and the wood grain matches perfectly, and here's just a couple sequins. So that is it for day 4 of our flower series. And today we focused on flatter flowers, or I should say less poofy. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a like, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.